I'm going to be sharing my Beginner's Guide to Nails, episode 5, and today we're going to be talking all about stamping. So this has been a video that has been very requested, and I wanted to wait and to share it into this video and more in depth because it was in this series. So I'm going to be going over a whole bunch of different things with stamping, so let's get into it. So I wanted to talk about two things before we get into the actual tutorials in this video. And the first thing is stamping polishes. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, do you have to have a stamping polish in order to do stamping? And the answer is it just depends on what you want to use. I've heard a lot of people say that you should only use stamping polish, but I've heard other people say you can use regular polish. I use a combination of stamping and regular, and in all honesty, it really just depends on what you personally prefer to use, and there is no right or wrong way when it comes to that. Next up is I would highly recommend getting a clear stamper. These will make a huge difference when it comes to placing an image onto your nail. And clear stampers, they come in multiple different shapes and sizes. I just love this bigger one. I just got it like literally for Christmas and I just have been using it ever since. But like I said, I would highly recommend getting a clear stamper because you will be able to see right through it and be able to line up your images onto where you want them to be on your nail. Okay, so I'm going to start off with doing the first tutorial here, and we're going to be doing layering stamping. So I'm using a stamping polish as the base to this because I actually prefer to use stamping polishes as the base layer to any nail design. For some reason, I just like doing that now. And that ivory one is actually one of my most used stamping polishes now. So I'm going to be also using stamping polishes for this video simply because I had these in my collection and I haven't used them yet, so I wanted just to go ahead and use them. But like I said, you can use regular nail polish if that is what you have and what you prefer. So when it comes to stamping, you want to apply your polish, swipe quickly, and pick up quickly because they will dry very fast because of how thin that's going to be, and place it directly onto your nail like so. So I'm going to be doing some layering here because why not? So one thing I would also recommend is cleaning your stamper off with a lint roller. You're not supposed to use nail polish remover to clean up a stamp because it can actually damage the silicone or whatever the stamper head is made out of. And when it comes to cleaning a stamping plate, just use nail polish remover or even acetone on a cotton round or even a cotton ball. You can also use like a microfiber towel if you want to. And that's how you clean them. So, but there are some stamping plates out there that I've seen people use that are made out of a specific material. I think it's acrylic, and you're not supposed to use nail polish remover for those or you're not supposed to use acetone for those. But for most stamping plates, you can use acetone or nail polish remover. So I'm going to be doing the layered stamp here again, just picking a different image, and again, layering it on as quickly as possible. And this is what the design turned out like. It wasn't my favorite design, but we were just trying some new techniques, or some techniques for this video. And again, how I clean the stamping plate. You want to clean the stamping plate between each stamp because if you don't, the polish can gunk up and dry and it can actually prevent your other images from like transferring correctly. Okay, so now we're going to make a full nail like decal. So I'm going to use this really cute little patchwork design plate. This is one that I've had in my collection for I want to say a couple of months now, or a little over a couple of months that I've just never really used yet. And I'm going to go ahead and pick up the image again. Now we're going to be doing reverse stamping here, and I'm going to be reverse stamping using the stamping polishes again. Like I said, you can use stamping polishes, you can use regular polishes. I was really only using stamping polishes in this video because I had not used them yet, and I wanted just to try them out. Well, the metallic unicorn one I did use already, and the ivory one I have used, but I haven't used the rest of them, so I figured why not give it a go. So when it comes to reverse stamping, you can use the nail polish brush like I'm doing. I actually prefer to do that because I find that it's just a little bit easier. But for very, very small, like more delicate images, I would definitely recommend either a dotting tool or a detail brush. You could also use a toothpick if you don't have any nail tools. And when it comes to reverse stamping, you don't really have to worry about, going at a specific speed because once the, like you want the nail polish to be kind of tacky so it sticks to the nail better. However, you can also use a sticky base coat to attach the decal to the nail, which I'll talk about a little bit later on in this video. But when it comes to reverse stamping, I like to think of it as a coloring book where the nail polish should be your crayons or your markers or colored pencils, and you're just coloring in the images that you want. Now, one thing I will say though is that if you are doing like a black outline and then you are doing like a navy reverse stamp with it, I would not recommend doing that simply because you're more likely not going to see the image that was originally stamped. So I would definitely recommend if you're going to do reverse stamp with like darker colors like a black or a navy or a brown, something like that, I would recommend stamping in white. That way you can actually see the outline. But just throwing that out there. I've made that mistake multiple times. And I'm saying that because it is very, very annoying when you get your images stamped, reverse stamped, and you're so excited, and then you transfer it onto your nails and you're like, I can't even see the original design. You can do as many colors as you want. It's completely up to you. And if you're a person that actually likes to do ombreing with stamp, you can totally do that as well. Just once you get the image on your stamper, what I would do is I would just do the sponging of the ombre right onto that image and you should be good to go. I've done that as well and it's very easy. I just didn't think to show that in this video. And like I said, you can use as many colors as you want. So I thought I would flip it over to show you what it looks like and what it would be like similar on the nail. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and get a sticky base coat, and I like using this for stamping. I also like using it for stickers, things like that. I feel like it helps everything stick really, really well. So I'm going to apply a layer of this to the actual nail. And then what I'm going to do is you're going to let this dry for a few minutes until it's sticky, but you don't want it to be like wet to the point that you can clearly smudge it. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp the image directly on top of that nail. And as you can see, that sticky base coat acts as like a glue. And then this is what the result looked like. All right, so let's do another tutorial here. So I wanted to do how to fix if you waited too long and your stamped image is not adhering to the nail. So this can happen because, you know, when you're first getting into stamping, and I've made this mistake even now, where you're trying to clean off the images on your stamper and it just does not stick completely because of how thin the nail polish is. So you can fix this one of two ways. You can either wait until your base polish is tacky or sticky to attach the nail or to attach the image to the nail. I was purposely waiting here. Or what you can do as like a it will always stick type thing is you see how it didn't fully stick there. You can actually use a sticky base coat and apply that, and it will prevent your images from not sticking properly. I would recommend doing the sticky base coat on maybe 3 of the nails and then going in and doing them and then the rest. Stamping is unfortunately just a trial and error process because, you know, what one technique may work for someone else may not work for you. And, you know, it is frustrating when you go to do stamping and your images don't stick. But I would definitely recommend making sure that you clean your stamping plates, the card that you're using to scrape it, you can just use some nail polish remover. And I would recommend making sure that you are going at a faster speed. So next up, we're going to be talking about shrinking a stamp. So this little like chartreuse colored stamper head was part of that bigger stamper that I showed at the beginning of this video. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this as a shorter nail. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp one of these little like individual patchwork images, and I'm going to show how to make the image smaller. So I've actually done a tutorial, or I did a video last, I think it was either the very beginning of this year or it was the very end of last year after Christmas. I showed how I used this stamper for like the first time because I've never used a shrinking stamper before this one. Pretty cool idea in all honesty. What you're going to want to do is take the chartreuse colored stamper, put it on top of something taller, and pull that stamper head, like stretch it. And what it does is when you release it, it shrinks the stamp. So what I'm going to do is reverse stamp this directly onto the thing here. And I'm just using the brush from the stamping polish bottle, but of course you can use a detail brush or you can use a dotting tool. It really is up to you. Sometimes images are large enough but small enough at the same time that you can use the brush like this, which is usually what I prefer to do. And I'm going to let that dry on the stamper until it's still kind of sticky. And then I'm going to take a pair of tweezers and I'm just going to go ahead and pull off this image. You want to wait till the image is kind of tacky but also mostly dry so that it does not like rip or become gummy. And then I'm going to place this onto the clear stamper so that I have the ability to place the image onto the nail. And that is all to the shrinking stamper. I love the shrinking stamper. I actually use it quite often now. So now I'm going to go ahead and top coat. And I would definitely recommend using a smudge-free top coat because there's nothing worse than having your stamped nails all ready to go to top coat and then you top coat and they smear. So I would definitely recommend getting a smudge-free top coat. It really does make a huge difference. And then once your smudge-free top coat is dry, you can go in with your regular top coat. This just acts as like a barrier of it's going to prevent the regular top coat from smearing the design. So that is it for today's video. I hope anyone out there who has a hard time stamping or is trying to learn how to stamp, I hope that this video was helpful. When I first got into nails, stamping was by far one of the hardest things that I was trying to figure out. And when I did it, it was that hallelujah moment. So I promise practice makes perfect.